Happy Finally Friday. The Mariners are back home in Seattle to begin a 9-game homestand with the first of 3 against Minnesota tonight. The Twins are second in the American League Central Division with a 45-36 record. The Mariners are 46-37, good enough for first in the AL West. Logan Gilbert will go for Seattle on the hill. He's 5-4 with a 2.71 earned run average. Bailey Ober is countering for the Twins, who's 7-4 with a 4.50 earned run average. First pitch at 6:40 on Root Sports Northwest. Mariners are 4.5 games in front of Houston in the division heading into the weekend. Both teams were idle last night. Texas fell to Baltimore 11-2 to drop to 8 games back. Angels blanked Detroit by a final of 5-0. By the way, my friend and I guess you could say cohort in this business, Jen Mueller, celebrating her birthday today. Jen, sideline reporter for the Seahawks radio as well as a field reporter for Root Sports during Mariner games. She also hosts a cooking show called I Cook, You Measure. She described the show during a stop during Apple Blossom back in May.
The show is exactly what it sounds like in the name. I love to cook, I love to pair food and wine together, and I love to talk while doing it. So it is all the things that I love, asking some of my athletes to come on and cook with me. Some of them are pretty comfortable in the kitchen. Others, and I don't want to name names, but I'm totally naming names, Taylor Saucedo and Bryce Miller treat knives like whack-a-moles. So it really does make for some entertaining television.
Okay,
yeah.
So is that the whole garlic press?
So there was a garlic situation. Okay. There's some nice, and credit to them, when you keep your hands out of the way, which you should totally do if you're a pitcher using a knife, what ends up happening is just a lot of like this on a cutting board. Right. Yeah.
And then add wine to it, and who knows what's going to happen.
Well, and that's why you watch the show.
I Cook, You Measure can be seen on Root Sports Northwest as well as YouTube, but also here on the NCWLIFE channel, Mondays at 1, Wednesdays at 2, Friday mornings at 11, and Saturday and Sunday nights at 10:30. The Wenatchee AppleSox begin a crucial road trip in Bellingham against the Bells tonight. Dan Coots visited with AppleSox broadcaster Joel Norman before the team headed for Joe Martin Field to talk about the playoff scenario up for grabs this weekend.
To me, it seems like the easiest route is win twice. You win 2 games, you're in, no matter what happens, because at that point, Bellingham and Edmonton cannot better what the AppleSox have done. And I'm not sure people are super familiar with tiebreakers because that's still very much in the possibility. At the time we're talking, AppleSox have 3 games left, and Edmonton will, after completing Thursday night's game, they'll have 4 games left. So they'll wrap up the first half on Monday. So the way the tiebreakers go, Dan, is that the first one is head-to-head record. Now, we haven't played Edmonton yet. To this point, we won't in the first half. So because of that, we go to the second tiebreaker, which is your record against the North Division. And right now, the AppleSox in a great spot in that regard because they've won 8 consecutive games in division play, and they only have 3 losses against North Division teams, where Edmonton, pending the result of what happens on Thursday, they had lost 6 games in divisional play. So Bellingham, if they beat them on Thursday, that's going to do a lot for the AppleSox this weekend, but Wenatchee still needs to take care of its business. They need to win at least 1 game this weekend, but like I said, 2 would absolutely clinch it.
After losing 2 straight series to Yakima Valley and Walla Walla, Norman says the team really turned it up a notch against Kelowna this week with a sweep.
I was talking to a few guys after that series, and it seemed like maybe that kick in the rear end really helped the AppleSox out. Losing a couple to Walla Walla, losing down at Yakima Valley, and not that you ever want to go through one of those stretches, but sometimes it's a reminder that you are going to lose games if you don't have the right mindset. And Wenatchee just got down to business in that series with Kelowna. Attacked early and often, and Dan, a theme of that homestand was first inning runs. In 5 of 6 games, the AppleSox scored in the first inning, and that didn't mean that they were always having a scoreless top of the first inning. They would give up some runs, but we saw it on Wednesday night. Gave up 2 runs in the top of the first, battle back and get those 2 right back in the bottom half inning, and that's what this team's going to do. They've shown a willingness and a need to respond when other teams score, and to me that was pretty much the theme of that game. 2 different deficits, but neither one lasts until the end of the bottom of the next inning.
A key reason for Wenatchee's success so far this season is center fielder Max Hartman. The Washington State Cougar has quickly made himself a fan favorite in an AppleSox uniform.
Max Hartman attacks the first pitch he sees, sends this ball out to right field, and it's gone! Get out of town, Max Hartman! A 2-run homer to put Wenatchee in the lead. It's a 3-run bottom of the second inning on Mad Max's first long ball of the summer.
8 different games this season, he's reached base safely at least 3 times. I mean, that's being able to get on with walks, hits, hit by pitches, whatever it takes, and he's just found a way, an on-base machine. And for me, what's so impressive about it is that he was a regular in Washington State's lineup this past spring. This was a guy that if you were following the Cougs for college baseball, you know who this is when he came to the AppleSox, where I think a lot of times when fans see these guys, maybe it's the first time, even if you are a college baseball fan, that you've seen them. But it's nice that Hartman has been this kind of effect after a really busy spring season. And I think the coolest part is I haven't seen the fatigue in him. You see it with some of these guys where they're bogged down. It's a lot of games. He's ready to go, and it's almost like every win has kind of fed him and motivated him even more.
You can hear Joel's call of the AppleSox at Bellingham tonight at 6:35. That's on Sunny FM. As Joel alluded to, while Wenatchee was idle last night, Bellingham was beating Edmonton 6-1. Victoria beat Port Angeles 8-4. Nanaimo got by Kamloops 4-3. Corvallis beat Cowlitz 10-3. Portland bested Yakima Valley 6-4 in 12 innings. Ridgefield blanked Bend 5-0. Springfield topped Walla Walla 9-3. The latest standings heading into the weekend, there you have it. Wenatchee in front of the North by 2 games over both Bellingham and Edmonton. Corvallis, meanwhile, has wrapped up the South Division title in the first half with a 19-5 record heading into the weekend. They're 3 games in front of Portland. Hey, I just heard before we went on the air here that Mike Leach, former Cougar football coach who has the most bowl wins as a coach in Cougar history, will be inducted into the WSU Hall of Fame posthumously. Of course, he unfortunately passed away from heart issues here a few years ago. So congratulations to the Mike Leach family. That is well deserved. I'm going to be on vacation next week. It's time for the anniversary trip to the Salt. So I'll be out on the beach as Dan will fill in for me. Have a happy 4th. We'll see you here in a couple of weeks. I'm Eric Granstrom on the NCWLIFE channel.